Our opening words today come from Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Everybody can be great because everybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and your verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. We bid you welcome. We do not ask what you believe or expect you to think a certain way, but only that you try to live a kindly, helpful life with the dignity proper to a human being. Welcome all who believe that religion is wider than any sect and deeper than any set of opinions. Welcome all who might find in our friendship strength and encouragement for daily living. Good morning. Welcome to the Universalist Unitarian Church of Farmington. My name is Jessica Sanchez, and I've been a member at UUCF for about 5-ish years. And I just want to say it's been great getting to know all the different and talented people that make up this congregation. This morning, we are fortunate to have our guest speaker, Laurie Weeks from the Oakland Literacy Council with us, and I will tell you a little bit more about her later in the service. I'd like to extend a special welcome to any visitors today. After service, we do invite you to come downstairs to Adams Hall for some coffee, bagels, conversation. When in the meeting house, we are observing COVID precautions and wearing masks regardless of vaccination status. Religious education classes are being held in the RE classrooms during the service. Oh, today they're downstairs in Adams Hall. I'm sorry. But an usher can tell you where that is if you need to be directed there. Joys and sorrows can be shared later in the service. You can come to the microphone, fill out one of the blue cards in the pews, or text the phone number that is listed in the second page of the order of service. If you don't mind, please take a moment to silence your phones. And now I would like to have everybody, if you would, please help me state our mission. We seek answers everywhere, include everyone, and live with compassion. So I know we do have at least one announcement, possibly more.
This is just a reminder, tomorrow is the Martin Luther King rally, march and shared meal in Detroit. If you'd like to go, it's going to be from 12 to 3:30 tomorrow. I'll be here at 10:30 tomorrow morning for anybody who'd like to carpool. Anybody else who's interested in carpooling, 10:30 tomorrow morning.
I am Hope, coming to you from membership. Just a reminder that this Tuesday, the 17th, we have Chalice Circles here in the Marge Brown Room. I think this week's discussion topic is tribe, finding a group where you're accepted. And we also have coming up our very own Kelly Bochek-Petrie is in a musical called Don't Hug Me at the Livonia Community Theater. Let me know if you're interested. We're looking at the February 3, 4, or 10, 11. So we might like to get a group and support our community member. Multiple community members.
All right. And membership has all sorts of things to talk about. We're going to the roller derby this Saturday. Now, it's an event. It sounds kind of unusual, but I'll tell you, this comes with great recommendations from Marie. The Cole Martins went there a few weeks ago. It's a lot of fun. And we already have about 10 people going, so 10 adults, so we can use more. And we are going to another theater on February 18th, Saturday. We're going to go to the Farmington Players. They're doing Wait Until Dark, which is a classic drama. Tickets are $20. We need to sell the tickets by February 4th. It's a discount. They're holding some tickets for us. We'd love to have a lot of people come. Just make arrangements with me or Hope by February 4th so that we can get your $20 and get you the tickets. And also, There's a strong possibility we'd love to do a potluck here for that theater play beforehand. If you're going to go to the theater, just let us know if you think potluck's a good idea, if you think you'd attend. Finally, we're going to be inducting a couple new members next week. We're very much looking forward to it. Hopefully, all of you can be there to have us welcome Kyle and Becca into our family. And Daryl, it's fantastic seeing you back.
Marie Laurie, Social Justice. Throughout January, just a reminder that we are collecting for jackets for jobs. Anything that you think would be suitable for an interview, so nice shoes, gently worn, obviously, belts, suits, coats, shirts, ties, jewelry, handbags, we would gladly accept. We are asking that you put them by the comfort room on that rack there. If you put your coat there, we will try really hard not to take it and donate it, but we make no promises. So we suggest that you put your coat over on the other rack for the month of January. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody, for your announcements. So we have a reading today, and actually I took this from our gray hymnal, so I'm not sure if anybody would like to read along, but it's number 732 toward the back. This is a reading for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. by Tony Vincent. Great Spirit of light and darkness, we gather once again to remember a fallen friend and nourish ourselves from the fountain of reflections. Upon our hearts, to the anguish of our pain, to the tired taste of swallowed tears, and to our unrealized vision. In this place, we bring out scattered lives together, groping for meaning and looking for truth. Be with us as we continue our search for understanding of the mystery of the temporal. Stay with us as we wander through our memories, seeking pathways to the future. Move with us as we unravel the implied imperatives of hopes unfulfilled. Justice makes tireless demands, and we grow weary. As we touch one another in common cause, and with the Great Spirit in our midst, let us find the way and courage to realize the dream which still lives within us. Amen. Are we doing the hymn? Did I skip a hymn? Oh, I skipped the hymn. I'm sorry. And it's a delightful one, too. Hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life. We will sing all 4 verses. I think I got excited about that reading. I apologize. I guess, do you want to do the musical interlude? Okay. I'm sorry. Little extra music. I'm so glad live with compassion is in our mission statement. So our speaker today is Laurie Weeks. She is the tutor coordinator for Oakland Literacy Council, a nonprofit focused on raising the literacy levels of adults in Oakland County so that they can achieve their goals. Laurie first began volunteering with the council as a tutor 8 years ago, something she continues to do today, and draws upon this experience in her role training and supporting other volunteers. A former journalist and educator, Laurie also serves on the board of directors of Abiding Presence Lutheran Church in Rochester Hills. Please welcome Laurie Weeks.
Okay, thank you for having me here today. I am always interested to visit a different church, different house of worship, and I wanted to share a simple message with you today that I really liked that last hymn because it kind of reinforces it, that each of us personally grows when we lift up someone else. And I have that message for you, and I have a question for you, which is, how are you lifting up your neighbor and your community? So the reading that I chose for today is just a simple proverb. It's from Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17. It says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." Proverbs, as you know, are short, pithy sayings about how to live our lives. They are credited to King Solomon, who was the son of King David in ancient Israel. And he either wrote some of them or he commissioned a collection of these sayings. And on the surface, it reminds us that, when we sharpen knives, we put two knives together and they both become sharper. And that analogy also, I think, speaks to the truth that we are not meant to live in isolation. We are meant to be in community with each other, and that our interactions with other people makes us better and makes others better as well. And, the early Christian community really followed that proverb. People lived together, they broke bread together, they prayed and studied together, they lifted each other up. And certainly we have drifted away from that way of life. And certainly Although we're more globally connected than we ever were before, I think we're more disconnected on a local level. And certainly the pandemic really accelerated that trend. We got disconnected from our coworkers, our neighbors, our friends, even our churches, and we haven't totally recovered from that, have we? But even before the pandemic hit, experts were warning of an epidemic of loneliness. 3 in 5 Americans reported in 2019 that they felt lonely, either due to a lack of social support, meaningful interactions with others, or health problems. So I'm here to say we can do something about that, even on a very small level. I want you to do something with me. If you could close your eyes or lower your gaze and think about a time when someone did a small act of kindness for you. Maybe it was a stranger who said something kind. Maybe it was a coworker or a friend who did you a favor. Try to make that memory really vivid in your mind. And now I want you to think about, how does your body feel as you recall that moment? Do you feel any openness or warmness in your chest as you think back on that moment? I hope so. I know I just got an email this morning. It was just a thank you from somebody at my church, and I just felt a lighter feeling here in my chest. And we so often underestimate the impact a small act of kindness we do to somebody else, the impact that it can have on them. So I want you to think about, in the next few days, what is something small, just a moment that you could do for somebody else? You can open up your eyes. Could you, for instance, I'm going out to lunch today, I might write a note to my server on the bill saying, thanks for awesome service. Could you smile at a frazzled mom in the grocery store whose kids are giving her a hard time? Or speak to maybe an elderly neighbor who maybe doesn't have anybody else to chat with? Don't minimize just the simple way you can lift up your neighbor. But I also want you to think bigger in terms of volunteering your time. I know your church is involved with a lot of other groups, outreach with Gleaners and Meals on Wheels, and I've heard about other speakers that you've had here. So I know you guys are doing good work, and I want you to tell you that you are growing as you're doing for others. And there's research behind this. Did you know that volunteering can reduce high blood pressure? There was a study that found by Carnegie Mellon University that looked at older adults who were volunteering 200 hours a year, and their blood pressure went down by 40%. Another study found that adults who are at least 55 years who volunteer reduce their risk of death by 47%. And even people who have health challenges can benefit. One study looked at people who had chronic pain, who volunteered as peer support for other people experiencing pain, and those mentors saw a reduction in their intensity of pain and their depression. And one study out of the UK actually showed that it doesn't take a whole lot of volunteering. Even one volunteer activity a month can boost your mental health. So let me tell you a story about how this happens. You guys ever heard of the story of the African violet queen? Okay, so this was a long time ago. There was an older woman in her 50s living in Milwaukee. She was very wealthy. She lived by herself in this beautiful old home, but she was very depressed. She didn't have a husband. She didn't have any kids. She didn't have any friends. And she'd really stopped going to her church. She was very alone. And her nephew, who lived out of state, was concerned about her. So he called up a psychologist friend and asked the psychologist to look in on her. And the psychologist went to her house, and when he stepped in the door, what he saw was gloom. All the drapes were pulled, the furniture was dusty, their lights weren't on, and the woman seemed very down. And she showed him around her house, and the last room she took him to was a room she had converted into a nursery, and she was growing African violets, in all different hues of colors. And this room was like flooded with light coming through the windows. It was very bright, well kept up. And the psychologist said, "You know, you have a problem." And the woman was a little taken back and said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You know what? You obviously have a green thumb. You have a lot of time on your hands, and it's all going to waste." And he said, "I have a prescription for you. I want you to go out and buy a lot of potting soil. I want you to buy some gift pots, and I want you to start to take cuttings from these violets and create more plants. Then, every time there's a baby born in your church, I want you to give the parents a plant. Every time one of your fellow church members gets sick, take them one of your plants. Anytime somebody gets married, take them a plant. If your church is having a bazaar, donate 12 of your plants as door prizes. And whenever you do that, take the time to offer some words of comfort or congratulations and listen to the person for a few minutes." And then the psychologist friend went on his way. Well, 20 years later, he was stunned to see a headline in the Milwaukee paper that said, "African Violet Queen dies and is mourned by thousands." She had made so many friends by the people she touched with just that small act of giving violets away, that her life was transformed from one of being lonely and depressed to being very fulfilled. And what I love about this story is that the psychologist built on that woman's strength, her ability to nurture plants. And he didn't dwell on what was wrong with her, but he gave her a purpose using a talent that she had. And I have no doubt that her life was so much richer because she shared that talent with others. So I'm very lucky to work for Oakland Literacy Council. I feel like my day job gives me such a sense of purpose. Oakland Literacy Council is, as Jessica said, working to lift the literacy and numeracy levels in our county. And the National Center for Education Statistics estimates that there's 175,000 adults who are functioning at the lowest levels of literacy. So that doesn't mean that they can't read or write or do math at all. It just means that they are doing it at a low enough level that some of the things that you and I do every day, like balance our checkbook or fill out forms for benefits, are tough for these folks. So they are able to really live life to the fullest. It really holds them back. And that's about 1 out of 6 adults in Oakland County, even though we think of it as being a very affluent place. So Oakland Literacy Council every year provides about 18,000 hours of free instruction to adult learners, and we're able to do that for free because we rely on volunteers who give their time. And I want to share a story about one of the adult learners that was served by Oakland Literacy Council. This is Sung Hee. She came here from Korea, and like a lot of the adult immigrants we serve, her life was very lonely and full of fear. And the world opened up for her once she was able to learn the English language. I'm going to play just a short video about the transformation this work made in her life.
Live in here, no family, and I'm just lonely, and I have no friend, and I can't speak English, so can't go outside. I'm afraid. My tutor helped me to get a citizenship. November, it's time to vote time, and I went there. So I did first vote, and the sticker was on my here. I was so proud of it. Now it's a new country. It's my country. It's my country, and I can share everything and with them, and then I can join them. I have a voice.
So Sung-hee now has a job. She's involved with her children's education, and as you heard, she's become a citizen and participating in our democracy. So doors were opened for her, and it happened because someone took the time to work with her and help her learn the English language. That is someone you know, Denise Hurd here, who has been a volunteer for 18 years with Oakland Literacy Council. Can we just give Denise a thank you? That's amazing. Denise has opened up the world for students like Sung-hee from all over the world, from Asia, from the Middle East. She's now working with a woman from El Salvador who has a medical degree from that country but is unable to get a good job here because of the language barrier. She's working in a nursery, transplanting plants, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for this woman once Denise brings up her English levels. So thank you, Denise. I want to show you a clip of another tutor because I'll go back to this, as Denise told me this week, she feels that she herself gets a lot out of tutoring. It gives herself a sense of purpose, and she looks back with satisfaction on how much richer her life is, having met these students from all over the world. And this is a short clip of another tutor who also talks about how she herself has benefited from giving the gift of literacy.
It's interesting because the purpose of tutoring is to teach others, to teach her the literacy skills that will help her achieve her goals. And I always tell her this, I feel like I'm getting so much more out of it than she is. I'm learning so much from her. She is someone who is incredibly determined and hardworking, and I hope that's something I can emulate in my life. Like when I hear about the amount of time she's putting in studying at home, or the amount of time she's putting in working on her interview skills outside of the time we spend together, it's really incredible. And I think more so than that, her positive nature that she has. There's been a lot of struggle she has gone through of coming to America at an older age and essentially reinventing her life, starting fresh, learning a new language, learning things like how to drive a car when you're much, much older, how to go on a job interview, things like that. And despite all of those struggles, she always has a smile on her face. She always sees every single challenge as an opportunity to learn something new, to grow from. So that's something I've definitely taken and implemented in my life. So when there are times where I'm struggling or there's a challenge, I'm like, this is not the end of the world, right? This is another opportunity to grow from, just like how my student sees it.
So again, as iron sharpens iron, one person can sharpen another. This tutor's whole attitude towards obstacles in her life has changed because of her interaction with the student. So we have other volunteers who maybe don't have the time for tutoring, who help either raise money for Oakland Literacy Council by sorting books, used books for this colossal book sale called Book Stock that raises money throughout Metro Detroit for a number of educational programs. And we have some folks who are good at advocating. So they're advocating for adult learners at the state level to support higher adult education and higher education. So iron sharpening iron means that we can make each other better people, improving others as they improve us. And I want to leave you with a thought that just following this proverb is really a guideline to building a better community, a community that is more just and more inclusive. And because tomorrow we're recognizing Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I want to mention that kind of inclusive, more just community is exactly what Dr. King called his beloved community. And I also want to leave you with the thought that, iron striking iron causes a spark, and a spark is what you need to start a fire that can build and spread. And so that what we can do as individuals, or you can do as a congregation, can really spread throughout the community too. So I'd like to close with a prayer. Oh God, give me a heart that is more ready to serve than be served, a heart moved by compassion to recognize those in need around me, and a heart set upon bringing into being the beloved community that Dr. King imagined for all of us. Amen. All right, thank you, and I will join you for coffee. I look forward to meeting you a little bit more later.
I love hearing from all these speakers because there's so many things going on in our communities that we don't know about, that I'm so happy that we get to hear about things like the Oakland Literacy Council and all the help and good work that they're doing. So thank you so much, Laurie, for coming and telling us about that. Our offering today, words come from Dorothy Day. People say, "What is the sense of our small effort? They cannot see that we must lay one brick at a time, take one step at a time. A pebble cast into a pond causes ripples that spread in all directions. Each one of our thoughts, words, and deeds is like that. No one has the right to sit down and feel hopeless. There's too much work to do." For the first time and you are comfortable doing so, please stand and tell us where you are from and how you heard about us. We'd like to meet you. Very nice to meet you. Thanks for coming. Oh, from Rhode Island? Nice. Okay. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. May we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to each other. Your joy is multiplied in its sharing. Your sorrow is lightened in its sharing. The stories that are shared weave together to strengthen our community as we care for one another. If you have any joys or sorrows and you'd like to come to the microphone, Then body or spirit. For number 346, come sing a song with me. We will sing all 4 verses. Our closing words today come from Langston Hughes. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow.